Hi, I'm Giovanni and I'm a data engineer at Get Your Guide. And the purpose of this presentation is to briefly talk about the topic I want to show at Data AI Summit, which is how Get Your Guide actually migrated from Databricks job clusters to serverless and the benefit we got from that. So initially, let me briefly talk about the problem. So before, we had a transformation tool called Rivulus that was essentially triggering one job cluster per SQL transformation we had. So as the transformation was getting more and more resource hungry, we always had to manually upscale the clusters. Also, DBRs, they are often being deprecated, so we have also to bump DBRs, adding a lot of operational time. And for developers, the iteration loop was very slow. So every time that they wanted to test a change they were making, they had to trigger a job cluster via API that was taking at least 3 to 5 minutes. Then the transformation starts, and yeah, the process was essentially very inefficient. So we decided to move away from Rivulus, and for that, we chose dbt, since dbt and Databricks have a very good integration with dbt Databricks. And dbt Databricks actually assumes that you use serverless as the default architecture. So the idea is that we would give it a try. We wanted to see how good or how bad serverless would be for our use case. And the idea is that in case we did not like, we could always customize the setup and have a job cluster setup again. So after we were done with the migration, and after, of course, a lot of ups and downs, we were actually very satisfied with the results we got. So the first one was performance. We did notice that our queries were running 60% faster, which makes sense if you consider that you don't have to worry about spin-up times, and also serverless has some inner optimizations. For our surprise, the cost was actually reduced by 20%, which was in a way a big shock, considering that one of the purpose of using the job clusters was precisely because it had this very good control of the resource. But by having the outscaling managing resource for us, it was much more efficient than tweaking every single time. In addition to that, by not having to worry about the infrastructure at all, data platform started having no overhead to deal with the whole setup. And as part of the migration, we also bundled the unique catalog migration in the process, and we leveraged the feature of AI query to document our models. So for our surprise, by providing very little context actually and letting AI query fetch internal Databricks correlations, the results we got by documenting our table columns with AI query were very, very good, to the point that we decided to document every single model we had using this feature. With that, I finished my video. Of course, that I have more stock, but let's leave that for the AI Summit. Thanks for watching.